Could you tell us where we are in the story when you start to read and what's going on?
Sure. Well, Señor Peregrino finally tricks Jamilette into listening to his story because she works at the hospital. Everyone has told her, do not talk to this man, because if you talk to him and really allow yourself to get close to him, he's going to do you great harm psychologically because he's very disturbed. So stay away from him, do the basics that you need to do to look after him, and then that's enough. But this man, as all of us, has this great yearning to tell somebody about what really happened to him. So the part that I'm going to read to you is the part where Señor Peregrino finally starts to tell Jamilette about who he is and how he got there. So what I would ask for you to do is to imagine that I am about 6'3", old man, white hair, black eyes as big as plates, that I have a low booming voice. I know, that's just a little stretch, right? Okay. And so they are sitting now on the top floor of the mental hospital, in his room. He is in his bed because he prefers to be in his bed and be tended to there. And Jamilette is sitting next to him, listening to him speak. He starts. There are spirits that sing, Jamilette. They sing beyond the spaces where the firmament of heaven conceals them, filling the chambers of our universe and creating a most lovely echo that only some can hear. I was 10 years old when I heard them, as well as a whispering of saints and angels all around me. I saw spirits peeking out from behind the trees as they watched us go about our lives. When I told this to my mother and father and to the other people in the village, they paid me little attention and thought I was a most imaginative boy. As time went on, however, it became unsettling for them to hear of my stories about spirits and the mysteries of life and death that they shared with me. The amusing smiles I at first received turned into patronizing grins, to be followed by stony countenances and the occasional scowl. Mind you, all I knew about the world was what life in a rural village in Spain could teach a young boy. But when I had my visions, I felt as though I were being carried along on a great river, more splendid and more powerful than anything I'd ever known. Sometimes, late in the afternoon, after I'd finished tending the sheep, I'd watch the sun settle right on the crest of the mountain as liquid gold streamed down upon us in warm shafts, filling the bowl of the valley. At these times, I was moved to singing alone, religious songs, because that's all I knew. I was overheard by many, and because of my singing, combined with my unique sensibilities, my fate for the holy life was eventually sealed. In other words, it was decided by everyone who knew me, and most especially my parents, that I should become a priest. I was not, as you might imagine a young boy to be, frightened by the prospect of such a life. My family was poor, and the priests in my village were highly regarded and enjoyed as much respect as the wealthiest of men. They lived in better homes with polished wooden floors near the quiet of the churchyard. They wore elaborate vestments during Mass over their well-tailored clothes, and my shoes rarely showed traces of mud or wear. My good friend Tomas was directed to a holy life as well, but for different reasons. Aside from being born to the wealthiest family in the region, he had a weak disposition and one leg slightly shorter than the other, so that he didn't exactly limp, but he swayed a bit, as though he couldn't decide whether to walk to the left or to the right. Every family of standing was expected to have a son or daughter dedicated to the church, and it made sense that for Tomas's family, he be the chosen one. All progressed very well in this way, until the age of 16, when my visions quite suddenly stopped. The emerging strength of my body seemed to overtake the fortitude of my spirit, so that a strange and unholy discomfort began to plague me, like a warm humming coursing through my veins. I became acutely aware of it on a particular summer night when attending a dance at the village square, as I had every year since my birth. Why something so remarkable should happen to me in such an unremarkable place made it all the more astounding. But the sensation was undeniable, and I can only describe it as this. As I watched the dancers in the square, children, parents, men and women of all ages, I found my eyes drifting toward a certain young lady I'd known all my life. Her name was Matilda, and when we were younger, she sat next to me in class, and I remember thinking it very amusing that when she laughed, her freckles lit up like tiny lanterns all over her face. I'd make up silly things to say just so she'd laugh and I could watch the spots burn on her cheeks and over the bridge of her nose. But on this night, I was not in the least interested in her freckles. Instead, I was mesmerized by the gentle rhythm of her hips as she danced. Through the many layered skirt she wore, I became aware of the womanly form of her body, and as I watched her, the warm humming intensified and grew hotter and hotter until it became a monstrous cycle of pleasure and shame that fed itself without my consent. I could not turn away. My eyes were transfixed on her body, and then thoughts began to formulate in my mind, wicked thoughts I'd never entertained before, about the truer form that moved beneath the layers of her clothing, and the delicacy I might find there. It was Tomas who interrupted my tormented reverie. "You look as though you've seen a ghost, my friend," he said, laughing. "Perhaps it is just as well that I look upon my own death," I said. Now I understood the prayers the priests had prayed over us as children when our parents made their intentions for our lives publicly known. Prayers in which they supplicated the Lord to spare us the discomfort of our earthly passions, so that the totality of our beings might be devoted to the spiritual. In this way, celibacy would not prove such a heavy cross to bear, but would become more of a perpetual splinter that might sting from time to time, serving to remind us of our weakness and to ensure our compassion for the ordinary man. There is nothing worse than to live a lie. At 18 years of age, when we were shortly to enter the seminary, my stomach turned sour, and there is nothing that will concern a mother more than her son's sudden loss of appetite. My mother insisted I see a doctor, and after a thorough examination, it was determined that for some mysterious reason, I was unable to get enough oxygen into my lungs, and that this had imbalanced my entire organism. The good doctor recommended that I take daily walks, and he prescribed a glass of strong spirits to accompany my meals. Nevertheless, the weight continued to drop off my body until I appeared as much as I do today, a 6'3" skeleton with eyes as big as plates. The pilgrimage to Santiago de Compostela is an ancient journey for the faithful and the faithless alike. It winds through the north of Spain, following the Milky Way of stars above, and culminating at the venerated Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela, the very place where the Apostle James is buried. Walking the path is meant to clear the mind and cleanse the soul. This is how it has been for almost 1,000 years, since the saint's body mysteriously appeared on the Galician shores. And so it was decided by the priests and the elders of the village that I should make this pilgrimage as soon as the worst of winter had passed. Tomas was to accompany me, and he was to remain vigilant and tend to my vulnerable disposition. Upon my return, it was hoped that all matters would be resolved. I felt as if a new life had been breathed into my body. My appetite returned stronger than before, and I resumed my previous healthy state. With the possibility of a different life before me, my obsession moderated to a balanced interest that no longer gnawed mercilessly at my senses. I was feeling like myself again, and I awaited this return of spring as never before. And so, one brilliant morning in early May, Tomas and I set off from our village for Puente la Reina, almost 600 kilometers from our destination in Santiago. We were to undertake the entire journey on foot. We had enough cheese, bread, and wine to last only a few days, knowing that we'd find food and drink at the refugios along the way. But I tell you that I had enough hope in my heart to last for 1,000 years.